Ladies and gentlemen, you have just hours to prepare. I am General Greene. God bless you. Jesus Christ, of course, is Lord. And I believe that within hours, we could see potential airstrikes on Iran by the U.S. government and Israel. Again, this is a red emergency alert. Please pray for peace. And more importantly, share this video and follow me on X at AMTV Media. I believe that you have just hours left to get ready and prepare. I'm going to go over this timeline of the series of events, the amplification that we have witnessed in recent days, of course, predicting that the June 14th military parade would be massive and was building up a propaganda crescendo, this intense rhetoric, this fervor, this massive military move was leading the American people into a huge geopolitical onslaught and, more importantly, Middle Eastern event. But please share this video. I really do need your help to crush and break through these algorithms. It is super important. I thank you so much for doing that. So I believe, as we've already seen all U.S. embassies, most of them in the Middle East, places like Iraq, and other locations completely emptied in advance for what our top generals and the President of the United States and allies are expecting some kind of retaliation after Israel and the United States makes its first move. So here's logistically what I believe is going to happen. I believe the United States government and Israel will suddenly announce strafing of underground nuclear facilities. These are nuclear proliferating areas of Iran. Keep in mind that there's near 100 million Iranians. So this is completely different than going to war, let's say in the Gulf War or Iraq, Afghanistan, or Libya. A very well-known general, his name is Wesley Clark, and I've reported on him for a very long time, has always warned that Iran is the final target and the last nail in the coffin, the agenda item of the elites, those in power, that they would eventually strike Iran after Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, Muammar Gaddafi. The list goes on and on. This, of course, will have profound implications for America, will set the tone and the mood for the world war that we have long predicted on this channel. This is why we see such gravitas right now. This is why Donald Trump speaking at Fort Bragg. We see the patriotism amplifying, the psychological programming, getting ready for tanks in the streets with the backdrop of what we're seeing in Los Angeles and the protests erupt at 35 major cities, now 1,500 locations. This is all leading up to the massive event that is going to, in my view, shock and awe the American people. And I want you to think about this in a minute, that this will congeal the masses. There will be a very big push for unity. So although we see a lot of disorder and protests at the moment, it's going to be really difficult to go against this war once these events transpire. So all the critics will be joining, really, the team very, very shortly and unifying into the singular message of Americana and the war that we're currently fighting. The initial financial shocks will be massive. Now, Donald Trump, of course, can also push Jerome Powell, okay, the direction that he wants him to go, and I actually believe achieve his interest rate cuts as a result of this war with Iran. What did he call him today? A numbskull? That was absolutely pretty funny, actually. Called Jerome Powell a numbskull. And so this is beating up the war drums, beating up the propaganda, beating up the nationalism, right? And I watched a video of Donald Trump speak at Fort Bragg. It was like a highly produced movie with thematics, music, the intensification of the raw emotion. His great speech, Donald Trump is a great speaker, Black Hawk helicopters strafing. There were military personnel coming out of helicopters, just like World War II, approaching the beaches of Normandy, so to speak. So this huge rhetoric that's being pushed right now, this huge psychological warfare, getting the American people ready for what the global cabal has always had planned. And this is what you must understand. This is a part of the reset. This is why you were locked in your house in 2020. This is why they were moving logistically all of these assets, getting ready for the worst of the worst. Now, this will have profound implications on the U.S. stock market. I would expect the U.S. stock market to be initially down probably 10-15% on the news. Oil is set to skyrocket above $150 a barrel. We're going to see gold and silver continue to break new all-time highs. More money is going to panic into safe havens like Bitcoin and high-end exclusive no bank debt real estate as a result of this unknown and the uncertainty and the disruption of a worldwide event. And this is what it is. I want you to understand that Iran is the flashpoint for a much larger geopolitical shakeup and vision. Let me explain to you how I think that this will transpire. We will see some kind of cyber event. You will see a cyber event. Guys, they've been dry running and test running this stuff for a very long time. Bank of America, its entire website infrastructure went down just several months ago. Verizon Wireless has capsized multiple times in the last few months. Won't work, goes straight to SOS mode. We've seen other financial institutions, Charles Schwab, and I like Charles Schwab, but I remember Charles Schwab also went down. I think they're one of the better brokerages, in my humble opinion. And so we've already seen the pre-programming of the grid down, the cyber event, right? Not having access to your money at the banks, massive banking collapse. You log in, all you see are debts and liabilities. Your assets, poof, are gone because they're not there. They're all digital. They're not backed by anything. It doesn't own anything. It doesn't own real estate or cash flow producing assets. It's not gold. It's not silver. It's not a high new gold invention as is Bitcoin, which is scarce, and they can't produce more of it. They can't mine any more of it. So it's all leading up to this. And you always know that a war is about to start by the elevation of the media and also what's going on in our streets. Again, they want the chaos right now, right? We've got deportations hitting. We have tanks moving out, soldiers, troops in our cities and towns. Los Angeles on fire. The war between worlds. Gavin Newsom, the mayor. Donald Trump, Newsom. It looks like he's going to be running for president. Right versus left, left versus right. Huge divide and conquer strategy, Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution, magnification at this very moment of the wartime event that is coming. This is what's going to happen. So once this begins, let me give you my opinion here, okay? This could happen from any moment now. This is why I said you have hours to prepare to get your money out of the banks. Click the links below. Call my dad, 808-442-2934. Anytime from now to after the parade, but it will happen very, very soon. If it happens before the parade, that is just the initial strike. So understand that. That is just the initial strikes. Maybe it's just carried solely out by Israel at that point, but it'll be followed up by a massive move. A massive, massive move. The big move will come right after the crescendo of the military parade. We know this through the psychology of it. Again, this is kind of a dog and pony show. We must understand, just like the Roman Empire, right? Kept the people entertained with the bread and circus and gladiator games and entertainment and alcohol and all those kinds of things. Just keep the people not thinking. Keep the people numb. Build up the emotion. This is what is happening now. So the big event after that key nationalistic moment of June 14th, which I've warned about. Now we have protests going on all across the country, right? We have curfews being declared. That's arguable martial law in Los Angeles. All of it building up like war drums. The big move will come right after the military parade. You heard it here first. The big move is coming right after June 14th. Now that does not mean there's probably going to be, some strafing. Before then, we could see increased tensions. Again, maybe Israel hits a couple spots prior to the parade, but this is all about the psychology and getting the American people ready. Our bases are getting emptied out, right? We have diplomats flying out of the Middle East. Donald Trump has authorized that. We had a Predator drone flying over the streets of Los Angeles yesterday, which is only normally reserved for wartime. So typically you only have a Predator drone hovering over Iraq or our border down in Mexico. Now it's over Los Angeles. You see how they've militarized the entire country. They're getting it ready for this very easily predictable moment, this very easy transition. Always the plan, always the master plan. It's why they did all this other stuff in recent years. Guys, I warned about all this. All of it is leading up into Iran, the mother of all hegemonic wars. This will have grave, grave repercussions. Expect China and Russia most notably to strike back. And again, it'll be very easy to congeal the American masses to support for the war, because it's not like those other countries won't counterstrike, God forbid, here. Let's pray against that, but we know it's coming. Again, our borders have been open for so long. It's why Donald Trump is trying to get everybody out that shouldn't be here. They're already here. So understand there will be grave retaliatory moves. The initial reaction, gut reaction of China and Russia, they've already modeled this, they'll quickly start hitting Israel. So that would be the first thing to expect, is right after Iran is hit, just like the movie Top Gun 2, Maverick, it predictably programmed all this. They're going to hit Israel next. Then there's going to be a medium term, a lot more of talk about de-dollarization, Russia and China completely de-dollarizing, the crippling of our financial markets, the collapse of the US dollar, the transfer into the new Bitcoin system, which I've been warning you about, crypto, blockchain, stable coins, etc. See how they created this problem? Because they're going to transition everybody here. You have to really take a step back and understand what's happening. This is a new empire. The United States of America will easily acquire Greenland, easily take over the Panama Canal, easily merge with Canada into a giant West versus East infrastructure during war, and not any other event. It's going to become much more clear why all these mineral resources are needed, why this restructuring is needed. You have to understand what the elites are doing. There's a very small group of people. They pull the puppet strings of all of this. The 99% don't even know what's going on. They keep it very tight, very close at hand, and they're the ones running the show. So then we expect retaliation coming from Russia and China. A complete new Cold War equivalent taking place in the Middle East. Guys, this is massive. Did you hear what I just told you? That there will be strikes, in my opinion, imminently. This could happen anytime within the next several hours to during and or after the military parade. My bet is it'll start building up like a giant violinist would, reaching the big moment, because also understand this is reality television. Understand, literally, the president, he's a reality television star. I love him, but you have to understand there's an entertainment factor to this. You've got to congeal the American sheep into the narrative so that they understand. Okay, they elected an entertainer. They want entertainment. They want the dog and pony show. They want the bread and circus. They want the gladiator games. So this is very predictable how this is going to be orchestrated, and shock and awe tactics. It's also arguably what the American people want. They want the shock. They want the awe. They want the chaos. They want the entertainment. They want to tune in to the next episode to see what happens. So this is historic. We now have troops on the ground in America, Predator drones flying above our skies in Los Angeles. We have another major general here in the United States that delayed his congressional appearance this week. I think it was today, but he's delayed it indefinitely, suddenly, because he's in the war room. We saw this, what I believe is probably a choreographed, end to the quote-unquote friendship of Donald Trump and Elon Musk, but I told you it would only build back better. It'll only build back stronger, right? Expect the beefs to be squashed. Expect Musk and Trump to be standing at the pinnacle of the Hunger Games military parade, June 14th. It's very, very predictable. But my point of this video is that you must understand that Iran is next. Iran is next. And this is why they have manufactured this crisis. This is why we are seeing an escalation in the Middle East as we speak. It was also Israel's red line, so we know that they're going to attack. I do see a major cyber event hitting the States probably right after, because again, Not everybody's going to support this war, but if you scare the sheep enough, if you petrify them enough, if you shock and awe them enough, just like 2020, and they're scared enough, they will eventually support the war. They won't know what else to do. Again, it's an invisible boogeyman. You don't know where it's coming from. Anything can happen at any moment. Hollywood will start supporting the war effort, even though they're against it now. So they've got to have some kind of massive event here. This is what I want you to understand. It's either some kind of cyber event that they've already predicted, and or it's something worse that I can't really talk about. But you know what that is? It's cells within the United States activating as another 9/11 style event, okay? Which all of our leading minds, all of our politicians, all of our military figures are already ready for and planning for. So this is absolutely huge. I'm going to do more updates on this. I don't want to go too long because I know you guys like me keeping these videos very short. But Iran is the final target. Iran is next. You have hours before, I believe, the first strikes may or may not hit. Guaranteed, during, after the parade, expect the big one. Expect the, Top Gun version of it. This is going to be blasted across everyone's television screens. It's going to reinforce why we're doing the aggressive deportations. It'll strengthen our alliances. It'll force the hand of Jerome Powell and his interest rate cuts. It's going to force the cleansing in the financial market and force the transition into the greatest wealth transfer in world history, which I've already been sharing, predicting, telling you about, organizing, planning for, so you can pivot, leverage, and profit in world history. I want you to understand this will skyrocket during these series of events. You need to get your money out of the banks into a private ecosystem now. Something you control with no bank debt that produces cash flows. High-end real estate will only continue to soar in the following subsequent years as a result of the elites seeking safety, seeking their own bank, seeking themselves outside of the major cities. Understand this as well. It's why we strategically set up in the Hawaiian Islands. It's off the mainland. Most people can't get there. That's where all the elites live. Zuckerberg, Thiel, Oprah, Jeff Bezos, the list goes on and on. All of them are there. Larry Ellison. They're there for a reason. Self-contained ecosystems, right? They control their own power generation. They have their own water and wells. They have their own staff. They have their own protection. They have it all. And so all that land, which is very finite and scarce, keeps getting bought up as a result. Not normal real estate. Normal real estate probably go through a correction. But the high-end stuff, right? $5-10 million plus will keep soaring. I was running some modeling earlier today because I was reading a lot, mostly this morning. I didn't want to come on camera until then. I was also modeling various scenarios. It's so amazing to me how Island Project's core $33.5 million by doing nothing is worth over 100 and could be as high as $150 million without leverage in 10 years. So our financial models, this is worth the $33.5 million founders round. Right, those annualized returns reinvested into the Island Project are well worth over 100 million in 10 years, if not 150 million. If we, if we want to, for example, get a little bit more aggressive in our acquisition strategy. I want you to understand how important this is. It's really a breakaway society, a breakaway civilization that's being created of haves and have-nots. Right? Pricing you, the little guy, out all the assets, creating a wealth transfer, collapsing the dollar like Zimbabwe, hyperinflating everything into infinity, and then transferring you into the new model and new system where only few hands profit from. Bitcoin, crypto, stablecoin technology, and the insiders. Again, what is Trump doing? That's all they're working on. All they're working on is crypto. All they're working is World Liberty Fi. All they're working on is DEXs, the Genius Act, the stablecoin legislation. So it all goes here, but they need a war to trigger the next set of events. Again, many Americans look at this as like a two-party system. There is no two-party system. There's one party. This is what you need to understand. Look at the forest through the trees. The elites have a singular goal. That is for control. That is to pull your kids out of school, actually popularize AI, artificial intelligence learning, priming the American people, using them as a motherboard, right? They say more robots will be around us, 100 million plus of them in the next 10 years, according to Elon Musk. Who do you think are those robots? What is the best infrastructure to utilize to build a robot on top of? Human beings. So a lot of you misunderstood this. The depopulation agenda isn't necessarily what we saw like in Germany. It doesn't mean that the physical bodies won't still be around. They're just going to be the internet of bodies programmed. They will be software. They won't be able to think for themselves. They will lack critical thinking skills. They will lose the light and the flicker of God in their eyes. They won't know God anymore because they won't have any peace and quiet. Imagine a neural lace in your head connected to the internet and that system constantly being fed information. That is the global cabal's wet dream for massive control. They won't even have to run as much propaganda than they currently do if they're inside of your body. Think about this. So this is a masterful Orwellian 1984 situation that they've developed, and now they're going to need to explain it in a way that the American people can understand. And what can the American people understand? Fear, war, economic shocks, the fake two-party system, polarization, right, left, right, those dirty leftists, those dirty, rotten conservatives. That's what the American people are constantly focused on. See, it's Hunger Games. It's the bread and circus. They're focused on the gladiator fight, but the real kings and queens are laughing their asses off, quite frankly. So understand this truth. Understand where this is headed. Understand how important it is to protect yourself from what is coming, to profit from what's coming. I mean, if we know where this is headed, why would you not pivot, leverage, protect yourself in a safe haven? Why would you not profit from the greatest wealth transfer in world history? Why wouldn't you safeguard yourself outside of the collapsing banks while you still could? It'd be insane not to. I get asked this a lot. People, ask me, well, Christopher, if it's going to lead, to such an Orwellian, thing, well, then why would I want to do anything? Well, and what's your view like on the dollar? I've said this many times. I mean, the most evil currency actually is the US dollar. The most evil thing that's controlled by the cabal is the hyperinflationary fiat. That is the most evil thing. That is centralized. That is hyperinflationary. That is confiscatable. Bitcoin is unconfiscatable. They can't get it. It's not in control of any sovereign. You can actually hold, private wallet your Bitcoin, borrow against it, never sell it, use it to buy other stuff. A lot of people still don't understand that. They don't understand. I know you do. But the big picture of where this is headed, again, this is an empire build. This is an empire build. Understand that the great big picture here now will be West versus East. United States, Greenland, Canada, even if it's just a loose alliance like we currently have, fighting the BRICS, Russia, India, China, Iran. And let's not kid ourselves, too. The Iranians are highly, highly technological. They've got great jets. They have already nuclear proliferated. That's a lie, too, by the way. I have to say it's my opinion, but I told you this years ago. They've already got them. Okay, so they've already proliferated. So don't believe that lie. Russia's got hypersonics. China's got hypersonics. They have massive arms. And they're all getting ramped up and ready for this now. So it's going to crescendo. This is the event. Again, the baby boomer generation, I love you guys. I have so many of you in my portfolio, so many investors. God bless, my dad's a baby boomer. But man, I think back on it, how almost easy you guys had it. It was up only your entire life. It was just one giant up only until 2008-09, and then up only again. I mean, you had the big war of Vietnam, but that wasn't World War. That wasn't a massive geopolitical shakeup. You didn't have to live through the collapse of the dollar, for crying out loud, like this generation does. You don't have to think about getting your money out of the banks because they're all going to zero like 1929. This is what this generation has to factor in. This is what you need to factor in right now. Baby boomers alike, young people alike, people my age, people in their 30s, 40s, 20s. Again, schools are going out by the wayside. There's no need for the schools. The elites don't want you schooled anymore. Do you understand? They're reshaping the workforce. Robots are replacing the human population. They don't need you anymore. Okay, and understand that the education's moving to AI because that's their God. That God will program your children for the future they're constructing and for the future they want. Just like Rome came up with all of its distractions. And we saw where that led, Dark Age. Because a lack of morality, a lack of truth, removal of God, I hope we bring that back. I do believe there's a revival for that right now. That's actually our hope. That's our living hope, is the revival for goodness and, Judeo-Christianity and those values. That's what built the United States of America. But, understand that some of the best ideas of America were only poached from the Greeks and poached from the Roman Empire and the Greco-Roman, days of civilization. You look, I used to live in DC. I went to college there on scholarship. And, the Capitol building is a Grecian architectural building. Everything great came actually from the previous civilization. So history is not necessarily repeating, but it's rhyming. And so this world war will be far different than anything that you've ever fought. Most of it will be drones. So this is another bullish sector of the economy. I mean, oil is going to skyrocket. So that's going to blast higher. You could definitely play oil if you wanted to. The Palantirs of the world, which I recommended at its IPO, which has been the best performing investment in the world, even if there might be some moral, ethical questions around that. At the end of the day, people have made millions that have taken my advice. You're welcome. That'll only continue to soar. Defense contractors are going to continue to soar. Anything a part of the military industrial complex will soar. Bitcoin will soar. And more importantly, the asset that we own, privatized, very, very high-end, exclusively high-end properties in the best locations in the world, mostly out of the major cities, decentralized, are the safe haven of the rich and the elites. In fact, based on the models that I've ran, just the core real estate asset appreciating at about 12 to 15% a year. So at that current rate, and there's other creative things we're doing with the project, that's how we get to our $100 million valuation doing nothing. I want you to think about this too. The more Bitcoin you own and the more high-end real estate that you own, you just do nothing. And it keeps appreciating over time. At the banks, you get nothing. Hyperinflation, this is the dollar. It goes straight down. So, yeah, I love you guys, but all my content has been extremely on point. I've been warning for several weeks now of June 14th. I was mocked earlier on. Since then, there's been riots, there's been protests, there's predator drones flying over your sky. The whole United States is being covertly militarized. The elites and our top generals are now preparing for airstrikes. Israel and the United States, in my view, will hit Iran imminently. There's then going to be counter-strike moves and a massive, massive shakeup in the financial, geopolitical, economic order, which we always planned on. And a lot of you have still, not you, but the general public out there has failed to understand this is what this was modeled for. We've modeled for the breakaway private ecosystem civilization, the new city-states of the future. We've modeled for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. We've modeled for artificial intelligence, and we've modeled for where the money and wealth transfers to. Private assets controlled. And guess who wants all these assets? The elites. Who do you think our competition is when we're buying properties? When I'm buying properties with Papa John, we're competing with BlackRock, Fidelity, and State Street. They're trying to box you out. You see, we're the good guys. We're the Robin Hoods. We're the little guys fighting Goliath. But here's the amazing thing, guys. At the end of the day, we all win. Not just through our faith in Jesus Christ, but also what we're doing in the here and now. Building the digital Noah's Ark, using our tools that God has given us, saving people's lives through salvation of Jesus, for crying out loud. I mean, if there is not a higher and more highly honorable purpose and mission to be a part of, that all my members, all of you tuning in, all of our subscribers here are a part of, I don't know what else is. I will keep you updated as soon as the strikes hit, and then I'll give you my follow-up thoughts. But again, I'm calm, but I probably shouldn't be calm. What I'm really telling you in today's video, you have hours to get your money and exit out of the modern financial banking system. Hours. You need to get in to privately controlled, very safe, no bank debt assets. Even if you don't do it with me, then go do it somewhere else if you can do it. Get your money out of the banks. You want out of dollars as well. You don't want to be in USD, guys. You want to get into physical assets you control that also produce cash flows in any currency that don't have debt. There's going to be margin calls in the stock market. Many of these high-flying individuals that we all know and love, and I appreciate them and think they do great things. I'm not going to name their names just to be nice. Their portfolios are highly levered. They're going to get massacred. I do think we will see a USDC stablecoin tether panic at some point during this wartime. There's going to be a breakage and slippage of the 1-to-1. So USDC is not safe. Tether is not safe. This is safe. Again, we always knew this, folks. This is not new news. You want to be in the physical stuff, and what we've done plays both defense and offense. I want you to imagine in your mind a line chart, and I've modeled all of this, of highly appreciating no bank debt real estate over 10, 20, 30 years. That's pretty short term. Where's it going to go? Decentralized and diversified, producing cash flows, producing those cap gains every single year in the most exclusive, highly desirable, not making it any more locations in the world. And then also, I want you to trend line Bitcoin. They both go up. Both of them, left to right, it just goes straight up, almost like a parabola. Currencies can collapse. Wars can erupt. Fiat can go to zero. Hyperinflation can take part. Unrest in the streets. It doesn't matter. Wars overseas. Left to right. Left to right. And in a very simplistic way, and we're doing a lot more advanced things with islandproject.com, what islandproject.com is the merriment of the best traditional historical real asset in the world, high-end real estate with the most demand and appreciation potential, married with Bitcoin. Both of those with no bank debt is a surefire win. It is a guaranteed success. It is a World Series championship. It is the All-American team, and this is why my father and I and all of you amazing people out there built it, but we are going to war. We're going to war. We're going to war. Ladies and gentlemen, I just revealed to you the final target. Massive repercussions. Massive counter moves and counter strikes, massive cyber event, grid down, banking collapse, bank runs in the United States, capital controls. Again, the wall and the deportations is meant to keep Americans in, not out. Understand this truth. There's a lot of truth to it. Trump's doing some great things, but it's meant to keep you in. During war, you're not going to build a get out. During war, you will not be able to move your money out of the banks during a bank run. During war, you won't be able to expatriate your fake, useless, hyperinflationary, going to $0 debt to another country. They won't allow it. So understand what I'm telling you. I'm not the only one warning of this. Where are the safe havens? Let me repeat them. Real estate with no bank debt, but only the high end. I'm not talking about your Tom, Dick, and Harry middle American real estate. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not talking about the middle class. I'm talking about the high end, guys. I'm talking about this $20 million house here. I'm talking about beach and oceanfront. I'm talking about the best no bank debt investments in the world. Because again, keep your eye on the lookout for the next major trends. We know where this is going, folks. We know where this is headed. We've understood this for a very long time. You've got to take action to protect yourself. I love you all. Keep another updated, or put another updated video up here shortly. I am Christopher Greene, your general. I love you all. I'm praying for all of you. Thank you as well for all of your prayers. I super appreciate it. Baby Faith, we're actually still prepping her for surgery, for open heart surgery. She wasn't heavy enough. They had to put more weight on her. So we're working through that at the moment. That's always, nice and stressful as world wars, breaking out at the same time. But we've got to put our faith in God. Understand, God's got this, guys. He's got it. I wouldn't be here. Let me just testify a little bit. this exists because of God, not me. I work my butt off along with my father and all my members, and we're doing great, big, bold things. We are the Davids. We are the Davids fighting and beating Goliath, and we're winning. We are the Noahs in the modern age, but we're not doing it. God is. You have to understand that the war is a spiritual war. We are spiritual leaders. We're doing it in the business world. We're doing it with innovation. I'm doing it with tech. I'm doing it with blockchain, and we're protecting the flock. Understand that truth. I've been asked a lot of questions recently why I raised the minimum from 30 to 150K. Well, I did that, number one, because we had to. Because we're running out of time. We don't have, we have very few openings left. I also did that to protect my 30K investors that got in first. I hope you know that. I did that to protect you. Because my ballers and my early birds that get in first, that bet on the general, bet on Christopher Greene and Papa John, always freaking win. You get your butts in now. Roll over your 401ks, IRAs, and retirement accounts Talk to my father about that. We accept crypto. There is now 150K minimum at islandproject.com. Fill out an app, sign it. I can approve that per my peer review, along with my team and my father, and you immediately become a proud owner of our $33.5 million diversified, no bank debt, sheltered, and very safe investment that will only grow over time during the chaos. And that's what we've built. Not to mention our tokenization and our massive offensive, which even if we 30X makes all of my 30Kers millionaires. You're welcome. I love you all. You can tell I've been in a little bit of a mood this morning because I've really, it's tough to transfer from intellect sometimes to coming on camera. I've been reading all morning, modeling all morning. I'm pinning our new newsletter as well, and I'm thinking something that a lot of people just don't do anymore. It's amazing. I was talking to my wife this morning, and we're just in discourse. I mean, I've got all kinds of books on my desk. I'm reading about philosophy, history, ancient civilizations, religion. The list goes on. I'm learning about the greatest statesmen in the world. I'm even actually kind of interested now in learning Greek and some of the ancient languages so I can better interpretation the translations. A lot of you don't know, English is actually an inferior language to the old world. So a lot that's been translated gets lost because there's not even a word for it in English. Again, we must understand history to understand where this goes. And even short term, I want you to think about back to 2008-09. A lot of you could have never predicted that. You said that when it happened. Just like 2020, I warned you of that too. You said it wasn't going to happen, and then we saw what happened. So for those of you, I'm saying this with love too, that for those of you that don't think you're going to war with Iran, you better put your freaking diaper on, okay? Because you're going to have massive diarrhea very soon. Get your money out of the banks, and if you've been following me this long for years, don't just listen to me and what I'm saying, do what I'm saying. Even if it's just for yourself. Even if you just model something similar, do that. I'm telling you, it'll save you and your family from what's ahead. It'll save not just your soul, go to God first, but your financial, economic success moving forward and your ability to protect the people that you care about the most. Again, the elites that are really in charge, they're not there to protect you. They're there to protect themselves. And that's the hardcore truth. And America has become a show. And we must understand that. That's why it's very easy to predict that they're going to hit. Get ready. This is where they've put the collective minds. And there's a word, there's a term for it. You know what it is? Thought control. It's called thought control. All the greats knew this. This is why they wrote about it. Brave New World, Aldous Huxley, George Orwell, 1984, all the ancient philosophers, Plato. You know, this idea that your reality is a perception of where you are and how much light you perceive in the cave. The Bible, our disciples. I want you to just think about, too, all of the Christians that were fighting such tremendous pain and suffering and adversity and beheadings and massacres, as we saw with Jesus Christ, the King himself. But the fact that they were able to preserve the Bible, the Old New Testament, the literature, even the hidden texts that they don't show you is an absolute miracle. It could have only had been done by God's blessing, just like what we're doing now in the digital age. Did you not think as a Christian, I'm speaking to Christians right now in this segment, but did you not think that there would not be Davids in the modern age? Did you not think there would not be people like Papa John and you tuning in, fighting the resistance? Did you not think that Jesus Christ, God the Father, and the Holy Spirit would put people like you tuning in to collectively move together into a single unit, an army for Christ? Did you not think that he had the power to do that? It's exactly what he's done. There is a wildfire fervor, revival occurring right now worldwide by the believers that are awakened, that still have the sparkle in their eye. They still have God inside of them. You can see the difference. Look at some people, and we pray for their souls to be saved, but there is no spark. It's gone. The eyes are darkened. They're glassy. They're glossed over. There's a difference when it comes to the enlightenment of the truth. There is only one truth. And what I bring to you today is the truth. And I'm surprised I'm so calm. It's weird. My family has always known this about me too, but actually during crisis events, I'm the most calm. I think that is another gift from God, which is good because, you know, in this environment, as the middle class is going to be slaughtered and the world war opens up and the biggest financial event and really economic Armageddon hits the American people, it is going to be very, very important to be completely steadfast. That's why I admire my father so much. My father is just the greatest human being that I know and such an amazing man. But man, he is the most steadfast hand in life and business and leadership that I've ever witnessed in my entire life. And, you know, my dad could have had a lot of different careers. He actually would have been a really great surgeon because he is just so succinct and decisive and unwavered. The plan always gets executed. It is an amazing attribute that I've learned actually from my father over long periods of time as I get older. And of course, we all mature. And I'm just so excited for all of you tuning in. This is such a massive opportunity to awaken hearts, minds, and souls and really go to the real truth in the real light and do something that actually matters and means something while we still can, and to really build a better future for our children. There is a better future coming. So I want you to understand it's not all doom and gloom. There is a better future. The digital Noah's Ark has set sail, and I want you on board. Our common ethos of freedom and liberty and the modern idea of Americanism and the Republic itself was founded by great men, great women as well, and was built on a foundation of rock and was built on ideas that came through oration and just the words that were transferred through the libraries that were protected, through the books, which you need to be reading more books. It's becoming more apparent to me how important it is to build vast libraries right now. I might even just open up some libraries we need to get as many books, not just Bibles. We need to buy as many Bibles as possible to preserve them, but entire libraries, because as the AI takes over, it's going to warp and petrify the real written word across all subjects, all intelligence, all philosophy. It's going to give your kids a stupid AI-driven summary, but not the real poetry. Do you understand? Your kids won't be reading real Shakespeare. They're going to be reading something fake and altered by the new system that these people have created so that you don't have light and you don't have spark. And do you think they want a true renaissance? I want you to think about this for a minute. A true renaissance means intellectualism at a level you've never seen before. And it means wealth and prosperity and freedom and critical thinking and the building up of great leaders and statesmen. Do you think they want non-compliant masses that can think for themselves and threaten these people's power? Of course not. They want Hunger Games. They want the bread and circus. They want the entertainment. They want the dog and pony show. They might sell it like they do, but that's actually not what they want. And this is a depopulation event, folks. And I don't even mean it in the traditional sense. Human beings are losing their light. If you lose your light, you're already dead. Don't lose it. Jesus Christ is King. Satan, we rebuke you. We rebuke these heinous acts. We rebuke the war that's coming. We call for peace. We call for the protection of your people. All of my members, our subscribers, all of you a part of this mission with me over the last several decades. We call on Jesus Christ, the King, your authority. We call on your guidance. We call on your direction. We call for your leadership in the digital Noah's Ark as we have now officially set sail. We call for people to take actions. Pray on it. Pray on it today and ask God. Then click the link below and get in and fill out your app and fund now. I'll be on camera later today, maybe in a few hours, a few days, June 14th, and I'll be telling you exactly and reporting on exactly what I just told you is going to happen. Iran. Are you ready?